Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here, I'll be taking you guys through the paintwork. We'll also do a little bit of masking on this silver Subaru WRX. The color name is Ice Silver and the paint code is 1EU. As you can see there, I had a little bit of a couple of repairs on the dog leg and the quarter panel. There's one spot that I had to actually re-repair myself because there was like a little dent there that was missed underneath the plastic stripe that goes on the rear door there. It was pretty easy to miss those kind of things, no biggie. Then obviously did all the prep work, got in the booth, blew it off, got the edge masking done. We'll do a little bit of the masking here and then we'll wipe it down with some preppers and paint some shit. I actually did the editing for this video ages ago and I'm just getting around to doing the narration. I actually did the narration on this once. I looked back on it, I wasn't happy with it. Maybe I just had woken up on the wrong side of the bed, but let's go for take two, see if I can make it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, just obviously all the edge masking is done. Go around, do the taping down, just cutting out with my famous Colad blades, aka a letter opener. Lots of people use them to open letters up with. And as I've said in previous videos, I find masking a touch hard to narrate. Because to me it's pretty straightforward. You can see what I'm doing. I guess it's one of those things that for longer videos I probably should start uploading a little bit more onto my Gunman Raw channel. It's been a little bit neglected over there for most of this year. I started pumping heaps out last year and actually started growing that channel quite a bit around that period. And that channel in itself's got around 5,000, 6,000 subscribers on it, which is pretty good, solid effort, I guess. But yeah, I guess it's one of those things, like I've had a few people like commenting on those videos saying, oh, this is shit, it just clogs YouTube up with crap, you know. And partly I can agree with it, but on the other side, they're technique videos, so lots of people do actually seem to get a bit out of seeing those little bits that I edit out of my videos, you know. You're getting the entire job, I guess, over there. So yeah, I will probably do my best to start uploading a little bit more over there, if I get time. I've actually just recently gone over to pick up my girlfriend from over in Thailand, so we're living here together now, so who knows, I might actually start going out and doing things. I've been a bit of a hermit for the last few years and dedicated most of my spare time to making YouTube videos, so I might actually start doing stuff, you know, going out. And yeah, like yesterday for instance, we just went out for a drive and I showed her around Perth and took her to some of the beaches and stuff like that. Although it was a pretty crappy, rainy, windy, wet and cold day, but still there's something beautiful about Perth. I quite like it here. I like the quietness of it. Don't really seem to miss Melbourne too much. It's just that big, bustling, busy city. Anyway, I got a little bit sidetracked there, but I'm just killing a bit of time until we actually start painting because, as I said before, it's a bit tricky to narrate the masking stage. It's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. Some people say, how the hell do you get that masking tape over your wrist? I used to do weights, like weightlifting a little bit, and I got to the point where I couldn't get tape over my wrist anymore. Like, it was getting really tough to get over my wrist there. So I had to give up weights for a bit, and I don't do it anymore. I've actually found, anyway, like I'm better off just doing a bit of cardio. If I'm doing any exercising, I'm more focused on cardio and just not getting overweight rather than making myself some big he-man, you know. Not really interested in that anymore. But yeah, so obviously after it's all masked up, going around wiping the entire job down with some wax and grease remover, aka Prepsol, and those Sontara cloths. They used to be called DuPont, but now they're just called Sontara. Just wiping them down, make sure you use clean ones, and always go over my blend areas first as to stop any possible contamination. And then prior to putting our colour down, we'll be wiping it down with tack cloth, which will get rid of any residue that may be left behind from the wax and grease remover, and also any bits of lint and fluff and dust and stuff like that. So I did actually do like a short video on this car quite a while ago. It was like a 40-second video, and it was an idea given to me by Moses, my apprentice, who you guys may know from some of my other videos. We did a couple of video series with him, and yeah, I just sort of like clicked my finger in between each stage. So that was a bit of a fun video, I guess. But yeah, this is the proper edited and narrated version of it, and hope you guys enjoy it. So now I'm putting down the again, it used to be DuPont, but it's now called Chromax 222S, which is basically like a transparent sealer. Specifically, it's actually meant as an adhesion promoter, but we just found over the years that it's a really good transparent sealer. It's going to help with your blends as well, so you can use it as a wet bed, what they call in America, or a base coat blender, whatever you like to call it. But it's got, yeah, it's just an awesome product, and I've been using quite a lot of it lately. It seems to lower the chance of having any shrink back as well. Because yeah, I'm still using the solvent-based base coat at the moment, and if you're using water-based, it's not really going to be such an issue, but sometimes edges, like primer edges and cut-throughs, can swell up a little bit when you're using your solvent-based. It can sort of a bit more aggressive with that thinners in there, so it can sort of want to bite in. But yeah, using that 222S, I want to go and call it DuPont again, but no, it's Chromax 222S. Using a bit of that definitely helps. So as you can see there was a couple of sanding scratches I missed. It was possibly from the repair stage and the primer didn't cover it or something like that, or I just completely missed it. So I'm making sure I blow a bit of air over that, and we'll give that a quick scuff back just in the base coat. Something I'd rather not have to do. Sanding base coat, most solvent base coats anyway, from my experience, isn't really that enjoyable. When I use the Chromax Pro, which is a waterborne system, that stuff was just amazing. It sounded just like powder, like chalk. It was so easy to sand. Really good stuff. Although on the other hand, I've heard that the Glazerate base coat, waterborne base coat, is just a nightmare to sand. So I can't say I've had a great deal of experience with the Glazerate waterborne, although I did use Baslac once, and yeah, it didn't cover for shit and took ages to dry. But yeah, so as I've sanded that out, I'm just going to lightly put a couple more coats on. That's one thing you've got to be careful with. You know, silvers, they're a bit more prone to sort of crinkle up, and I guess even the other side of it is that, like, if this was like a black and you did have like a little sanding scratch in there, you'd be able to smash that on with a bit of clear. Yeah, sure enough, it might shrink back in the clear, but you'd be able to sand that out and then polish it up, and you wouldn't be able to see it. But with your silvers, your light metallics, if you can see it in your base coat, you'll see it in your clear coat, whereas you get away with a little bit sometimes on your darker metallics and your darker colours. Same with solid colours, you get away with a lot on your solid colours as well, in your prep work and your base coat. But yeah, obviously you got to get your blends right also with the silvers, but on the plus side, your polishing stage is a lot easier, so you got to take the good with the bad, I guess. You're not going to see your swirl marks as much as you will on darker colours. So I've still been using the Segola 4600 Extreme for my base coat, the digital one, and yeah, still loving that gun. I rate it quite highly. It's got the 1.3 on it and the Aqua air cap. I recommend it to people, and I'd like to hear some feedback. I don't get a great deal of people telling me what they think of the Segola in the comments sections down below in most of my videos, so let us know if you have got one, and yeah, what your thoughts are on it. So I get asked a few times, like, you know, do you tack rag in between coats, or do you tack rag in between base coat and clear coat? And at the end of the day, I just treat each job differently. Especially like on a silver, you might say, oh, you know, that blend's not looking too good, or you might have a little bit of that overspray that's landed on your blend that you need to actually sort of like tack rag off a little bit or something like that. But yeah, most of the time, like on your darker colours, if it looks good in your base coat, sometimes you're just better off leaving well enough alone. You know, you can end up actually making them worse sometimes by using the tack rag over the top of it, especially if it's dirty. I've done that before, and I'm sure I'll probably do it again, thinking that you're doing the right thing, but in hindsight you'd be like, yeah, maybe I should have left that tack rag away from that one. So yeah, I just blow a bit of air over the base coat in between coats just to help flash it off. and then you'll also get an idea of what it's going to dry down like. Again, same thing, you know, once your base coat's dry, you should be able to get a good idea of what it's going to look like when it's outside in the sun. If you can see a bit of a dodgy mottle, bit of blend, average blend there, better off put a little bit more, maybe dust a little bit more colour over the top of it. But as it turned out, I was pretty happy with this one. It did blend out quite nice. No model, and you'll see it out in the sun at the end of the video, and I was pretty happy with it. I mean, it's better than what's on the front bumper bar. You'll probably notice the front bumper bar is quite a fair bit out. Whether or not that's factory or that had been done before, I couldn't really tell you, but so as you can see, I did decide on this job here to give it a tack rag. I think it was in my best interest, as I say, especially on the silvers. By the time you put like 4 or 5 coats on, because silvers in this range, especially stand-off solvent, don't cover that well, you can end up with that little bit of overspray, and the larger flakes from the metallic silver can end up landing on your blend areas and changing the colour, and they can also turn into little bits of crap underneath, so yeah, the clear may not fill that up sometimes. As for the clear coat, I'm just using the Subaru 4600 Extreme. Again, this is actually the same gun that I used for base coat, but I just swapped the air cap over. Main reason I decided to do that on this job is that we were out of clean thinners in the gun cleaning machine, and my clear coat guns, I only ever let clean thinners go through that clear coat gun of mine. I don't wash it out with the recycled thinners, so we've got 2 sides on our gun cleaning machine, a clean and a recycled side. With my base coat guns and most of my guns, I'll just clean it out initially through the recycled side, and then I'll give it a bit of a rinse off with the clean thinners. But with my clear coat guns, I will only ever let the clean thinners go through it. Because even in the recycled thinners, you can get little metallic particles coming through your gun, and that can come through your clear coat. More so it will be noticed on like a solid colour. So if you're doing like a black Jag or whatever it be, in solid colour black, and then you go and clear over it with a gun that you've rinsed out with dirty thinners, even if you put clean thinners through it after, you can still sometimes be left with tiny little bits of metallic in the gun, and that can come out. And then, as I say, if it's a solid colour, it's not meant to have any metallic particles in it. Get that out in the sun, and having metallic on the car that's not meant to be metallic, it's not really very good. So yeah, that's why I'm using this gun, and the titanium air cap. I like the air cap, it's good. I don't know why I don't use it more often. I guess I've just got too many guns to choose from, and you got to choose one of them. But yeah, it just seems like the Pro Light is, it's always a dream to go back to, you know. I'm always happy when I jump back on the end of that Pro Light, but I can make most guns work at the end of the day, you know. And part of it's just personal preference. I've always been a DeVilbiss sprayer. I started this trade in the year 2000. Got a DeVilbiss straight off as my first spray gun, and most of my career it's always just been DeVilbiss. Since starting the Gunman, I've obviously had to be a bit more impartial, and when reviewing, you know, you can't just say DeVilbiss is the best, that's it, and I don't care. You know, I've had to turn around and sort of question my own thoughts and say, oh, is it the best? Is there better guns out there? And look, all in all, I probably they're still on my top of my list, you know, for various reasons, and I do recommend the DeVilbiss to most people. But there's some other great options out there, you know, like going for this Subaru. If you get one of these for a decent price, I would highly recommend looking into it. They're very similar to DeVilbiss actually in many ways. The selection of air caps, tip sizes, air caps are interchangeable, whereas you go guns like SATA, you know, you can't change air caps and tips over as you will. They're supposedly all machined together, which I see as a strong point on DeVilbiss's behalf. You know, they're supposedly like laser machined or something like that, whereas SATA aren't, and they're like machined together or something like that. So each fluid tip and each air cap will only fit, themselves. But that's about it for this video, gunners. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. Until next one, get out there and paint some shit. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye. it.